Welcome to Cagliari and the Kiteboard Course Racing World Championship for 2012. Cagliari is the capital of Sardinia, located in the southern end of the island that's Italy's second largest. This place has been a major sailing site with many world championships organized here. This time, it is the International Kiteboarding Association holding its championship there, and a pretty decisive one. It's their first world since the International Sailing Federation decided to include kiteboarding for the 2016 Olympics. This is probably the reason that this year's World Championship is already successful before it starts, managing to gather 195 riders, both men and women. A massive number indeed. Welcome to the beautiful beach of Poetto. Join us for the 2012 Kiteboard Racing Worlds. Even if it's early October, the weather here in Italy is still warm. The summer hasn't yet left these stunning Mediterranean coasts. Today is the first of 4 days in which this event will unfold, and the weather forecast prepares us for great things. All the best kiters are gathered here. Last year's world champion, Johnny Heineken from USA, is back again to defend his title. Same for his compatriot, Adam Koch, that finished second in last year's Worlds and is here trying to repeat his performance, if not surpass it. Francis Julian Kerner is also aiming for a top place, especially since it's been only a few days after his silver medal at the Europeans. Many Olympian windsurfers are here as well, like London's Olympic medalist Dorian van Rieselberger, which is here to learn a few things from these guys and make a smooth transition in the kiteboarding. Plenty of women here as well, proving that this sport is not as difficult as it may seem. Johnny's sister, Erica Heineken, is one of the favorites, having to compete up against Britain's favorite Stephanie Bridges. The first day of the Kite Worlds in Poetto Beach looks promising. After a few hours of waiting, the sea breeze arrived in the Golf of Cagliari. And now it is time for the kiters to launch their kites and head to the race course. Even in the light winds, the riders managed to go really fast and fly confidently over the waves. Let's hear some words from the gold medalist in windsurfing at the London Olympics about today's weather and the race format.
We're here in Cagliari, in the beautiful island of Sardinia, and at the World Championships Kitesurfing 2012. It's a beautiful place. We have not so much wind at the moment. We had a practice race yesterday, actually 2, and it's good fun. It's a lot of kites on the beach. So it's good that everybody's showing up for this important event, as it's the switch over from RSX, which used to be Olympic, to kitesurfing. Yeah, I love it. I'm having a lot of fun over here.
In the day's first race for the Yellow Fleet, the kiters were spread across the length of the starting line. Many preferred the pin end, and a group of riders managed to start on port tack, then cross to the right side of the course. The riders have prepared their big kites so as to be able to plane faster in these light conditions. USA's Brian Lake was the first to round the weather mark, followed by Alivero Cadena from Colombia and Italy's Santoni. 25 degrees Celsius of air temperature and 22 degrees Celsius of water temperature. The kiters will be the first to tell these are excellent conditions for the start of this championship. The women's fleet was next. In their first race, we witnessed some clever tactics from the American Erica Heineken and Katja Rouzé from Netherlands. They both started at the pin end on port tack, managing to cross the whole fleet ahead of them before hitting the right side of the course. The shifty conditions proved to be a challenge for the fleet today. Heineken continued with an excellent performance, building her lead from the other girls. After rounding the gate, she headed for the second upwind, with the rest of the fleet following her. The two girls, Heineken and Rosé, finished at the two top places at this race, and they were naturally very happy about this. At the same time, the men's green fleet started with their second race for the day, and the majority of them now seem to prefer the pin and side of the start. The kiters must be very precise in their control of the kite. Otherwise, collisions can happen very easily. The spectacle of 50 kites lined up over the starting line can be breathtaking. No wonder the excitement that surrounds kiteboarding keeps growing. Another thing that is very crucial is the rounding of the gate, because the choice of which mark to pass over can affect one's strategy for the upwind. This time, victory went to Italy's Riccardo Lecchese, who put in a great performance here in Cagliari and finished ahead of Germany's Florian Gruber. Let's have a look at the final results of the men after 3 races for each fleet. The Italian, Riccardo Lecchese, and the American, John Heineken, dominated in their fleets. They scored 3 bullets each. So they now occupy the top 2 places in the leaderboard, leaving the French Julien Kerner in 3rd. Heineken and Bridge are leading the women's fleet.
Qualification races continue tomorrow.
This was only day 1, and given how it unfolded, lovers of the kiteboard have every reason to be excited about what's still to come. As the second day begins, the weather conditions remain good. Clear skies and a sea breeze expected around midday in the Bay of Cagliari, when the races are planned to start. By 1 o'clock, the sight of those colored kites spreading over the bay is something to behold. But let's hear what comments Brian Lake has on his experience of the first day of the championship.
Yesterday was a tough day of racing for me. Won the first race, so that was good. And then got into some trouble around the race course with some other guys and got a bunch of tangle ups, got some major damage going on to my board. I'm trying to fix it all. And I'm still in the hunt, though, you know, it's just qualifying, so if I can get through today, hopefully I can make the gold fleet and I can dig myself out of a big hole and still have a shot at winning this.
Today, the wind turned out to be stronger than yesterday, and everyone clearly enjoys this. The higher the speed, the greater the fun. The yellow fleet was the first to start today, and it was clear and uneventful. The riders picked the center of the starting line. Then most of them headed to the left side of the course.
In these weather conditions, a race can be completed even in 15 minutes, leading to slight differences between the riders, making this spectacle so exciting. Lecchese finally managed to score another bullet and keeps his top place on the leaderboard among with Heineken having a tie. This is looking to be a great championship for both riders.
Dassin from France was on his heels.
And so was Poland Zaniak.
Following the yellow fleet, it was now time for the women to start their first race. Those managing to start closer to the race committee side were the ones that had a better start. And soon enough, they blanketed the girls that were on the leeward. The key for a good start is, of course, to allow oneself enough space before the starting line and have gathered as much speed as possible at the point the gun is fired. Following an excellent performance in upwind and downwind alike, Heineken rounded the port gate and sailed for the second upwind.
Bridge had an equally good race, managing to finish in second place in front of France's Adrien, that finished third. These girls have nothing to be jealous of the men. they perform equally well.
In the Red Fleet, the second race also had a clean start, with the majority of the riders preferring once again the center of the starting line.
After a fast round, Koch managed to perform a perfect rounding, maintaining his lead before going upwind for the second beat.
Will he manage to score the bullet at the end? Such an exciting finish in this race too. The top two riders of the race battled it out until the very end. What a spectacle it was!
But let's see how the results form on this last day of the qualifications before the fleets split into gold, silver, and bronze, starting fresh tomorrow. Women, although, will continue racing as one fleet, keeping all their previous races.
The races in final 2 days of this event will lead us to a new course racing champion for 2012. But it's also Saturday, and while it's October, Italy's still in summer mode, and everyone, it seems, has descended on the beach to watch the world's best kiters at the top of their game. This means, of course, preparations must start early and be thorough. At this level, nothing is left to chance, especially on this first day of the finals where everyone is a tad more anxious. The time has come to hit the water then, not least because so many things need to be checked and adjusted according to the weather conditions also. When the first race of the Gold Fleet finally starts, the majority of the riders chose the pin end side of the starting line before heading to the left side of the course. The medium strength winds today were more similar to those during the first day of this championship. Heineken from USA rounded first at the gate, followed by Lecchese from Italy and Francis Kerner in third.
Racing is much closer now that the fleet has been split into gold, silver, and bronze compared to the previous days. The competition in this gold fleet following the qualification races is extremely high.
Many of these athletes have an equal shot at finishing first. Finally, after 2 laps, Heineken was the one that managed to be ahead of the rest, leaving Lecchese from Italy in second place. After the end of the men's race, it was time for the women to show they can offer a spectacle just as great.
This time, the majority of the riders opted to start closer to the committee boat. Then, most of the girls headed to the left side of the course.
In the case of the women, results were a bit more predictable perhaps. The performance of the top 3 riders has been consistently good in this championship, and the American Heineken really is the one to watch.
Her performance is flawless so far, not having lost a race. But Bridge is always keeping close in second place. In today's race, her persistence paid off, and just a small mistake from Heineken was enough for her to take the bullet she kept pushing on for those 2 days.
And then, it's time to return to the men for the Gold Fleet's second race for today. Germany's Florian Gruber and Bruno Sroka from France started on port tack and still managed to cross the whole fleet in front of them.
Brian Lake, on the other hand, chose to be the first kiter on windward. In the middle of the race, Damian Leroy was leading the race, followed by his compatriot Danson.
Excellent tactics from the Frenchman. Following an exceptional great start, Brian Lake from USA only managed to finish in 4th place after speeding downwind to the finish line. The rest of the kiters followed, all of them now headed one by one to the finish line. Let's hear a few words from Laura Linares on her experience with this new class. She's a former RSX sailor and a youth world champion. Her opinion does matter.
I'm Laura Linares, I'm RSX sailor and I just moved to kite surfing. We are here as a little girls to test the new this Olympic discipline. And right now it's a really big step. It's pretty different. You have to work a lot in materials because it's not like standard. Everyone can race with different boards, different brands.
Closing the third day of this championship, let's have a look at the final results. In men, Heineken from USA has the lead. He's followed by Lecheze in second and Koch in third place. In the women fleet, Heineken it is first from USA who has the lead, with Bridge in second place, followed by Adrien from France in the third spot. Tomorrow is the very last day, with the final races for the Kiteboard Racing World Championship. Nothing is decided yet. The scene is slightly different today in this stunning bay of southern Italy. The sky is cloudy with medium winds coming from the north. But while waiting for the wind to make its presence felt, these riders are painstakingly preparing their boards. Or they try to relax and concentrate on their tactics for today's races. But let's hear what John Heineken, leader at the men's fleet, has to say about his performance so far.
So yesterday we were split into gold, silver, and bronze fleet. So the top 52 sailed together, and that was exciting because we finally got to line up with all the top guys on one course. And once again, I sailed really well. I've just been able to stay clean, get off the line, and sail my own race. And I won all 4 races, so I'm feeling really happy about that. I mean, it's cool to come into a fleet that solid and just perform consistently. Although today I'm a little bit disheartened because we have to just basically throw all those scores away and start over today with just carrying over position into a medal round where we do 2 races.
Each kiter's position from yesterday counts as one race, and the champion will be decided not just from how well they did today, but from the overall sum when today's and yesterday's results are put together. So everything remains open and the pressure is high. It's then time for the races to begin. In the women's fleet, Erika Heineken lost the first medal race to Steph Bridge, so they were now tied in points. In the final race of the women's fleet, it was again Erika Heineken that had the best start. With the offshore Mistral wind gusting between 5 and 20 knots, getting off the start clean proved to be a challenge. But Erika Heineken was untroubled. She kept that lead of hers and rounded first at the gate, far ahead of the others. Finally, she managed to maintain her lead until the end and was now the 2012 World Champion. Behind her in second place, we find Steph Bridge, who had managed to significantly close the gap separating them. Straight after, it was time for the second race of the men's fleet to begin. After Heineken lost the first race in a photo finish to Koch, both were tied in points, and the last race had to decide the title. The pressure has never been that high before. America's Heineken was the first one to round the gate. This was a stunning performance so far. He seemed to be in absolute control of the race. Adam Koch aimed to finish in second position to secure his second consecutive Vice World Champion title. And it wasn't too long before Heineken could officially celebrate his victory. It's the second world title for Heineken in a row. He put on a sterling performance again this year. This is a sailor at the top of his game. And Koch deservedly won the silver medal, finishing right behind Heineken in a spectacular way. But the surprise result of this final day in Cagliari belongs to France's Julian Kerner, who managed through sheer grit and determination to move from 6th to 3rd place.
Spread her wings across the ocean.
It's the second world title for Heineken too. He put on a sterling performance again this year, but now it's time to celebrate. Let's have a quick look at the final result. Heineken is of course in first place, followed by Koch, who managed to move a spot and end up in second place, with the bronze medal going to Kerner.
'Cause you can't believe what you did not know.
When it comes down to the women, Erika Heineken's consistent performance clearly put her ahead from the other girls overall. But today, she has only one less point than Bridge, who kept the lead in the master category.
An excellent event like this one that unfolded in Cagliari these past 4 days is only complete when a beautifully organized award ceremony recognizes not just the first 3, but all riders who competed. In the end, the applause is for everyone's efforts. Following the success of this year's championship in Italy, spectators and kiters alike, they're going home excited to have been here and counting the days until next year's event.
Your love to me.
This has been a successful event all the way from its beginning until the very end. Everyone enjoyed 4 days of intense kiteboard racing. 13 races were completed for both men and women fleets in various weather conditions. From light to medium winds, these riders had a great championship, one to be remembered. Hope to see you all next time. Thanks for watching.